So the case study that I decided to choose was the Love Him or Leave Him, and it was this girl named, it's Luz, I guess, Luz. She had had a lot of problems growing up, and I think that her figures in her life weren't very good, like her mom and dad. She kind of grew up knowing that her dad was cheating on her mom, and I kind of think psychologically, being a psychology major, that kind of set her up for failure in the long run. I mean, she went through all of that in her childhood, and then her dad kind of like forced her to kind of get married to this guy who was a higher class guy in their town, and so he probably had more money and things like that, and he at first was like really good to her and everything, but then they fell into like that same pattern that her parents did, where it was like all lovey-dovey in the beginning and everything was great, and then she like found out he had a mistress and things like that, and it kind of started to go downhill from there. I don't think that her self-confidence is very high. I don't think it's ever been very high her whole life. She's kind of grown up around a dominant male, and so she kind of just thinks that that's how it's supposed to be, that the guys are kind of just supposed to treat them bad and things like that. But I think that the most important thing and the solution, I think, for her problems, because she goes through it and then her husband ends up leaving her with her kid, and well, their kid, and she ends up having to like go and get a job so that she is able to support her kid and herself, because he's upped and left. So when she finds this new guy, and they get together and everything's kind of good, and they move in together. So they kind of like moved quick. They moved in together. Well, then they've been together for 10 years, I think is what the article said. And she was talking about how it was all good in the beginning. He was a nice guy and everything like that. But then he found out that she found out that he was like cheating on her, just like the guy did before. But she kind of just like brushed it off, because she wanted to have like a good life for her kids and for herself. So she kind of just was like, okay, I know that it's happening, but I'm not going to do anything about it, which is very wrong in my opinion. So I think that her solution, I think the best solution, because she wanted to go and she ended up starting to go to this like Christian-based church because she grew up Catholic, and she took the classes and everything like that to get baptized. She really wanted to get baptized as a Christian, and so she took all the classes and did everything that she needed to do, and then they came to her and were like, well, if you want to get baptized, then you're gonna have to get married to the guy that she's currently with. And she had dabbled her toes in there and kind of like had asked him like, well, why aren't we married? Like, let's get married. And he kind of like blew up in her face and was like, we don't need to get married. Like, I'm a real man, whatever that means. And he said that he didn't want to get married to her. So when they brought up the fact that she was going to have to get married in order to get baptized, she kind of had a hard time with that, because she knew that he wasn't going to want to marry her. And honestly, I don't really think that she wants to have to marry him. So I think the biggest solution that I would recommend to her if she came to me was to get rid of the men. The guy that she's with is obviously not a good guy because he's cheating on her anyways, and that's against Christian values anyways, so that's something that she should get rid of. I know she runs into the problem of that she's still married to her first husband, and she has no idea where he is or what he's doing or anything like that. So that's kind of a problem, but excuse me, I know that if you can go to the state, I'm not totally sure about like all the rules, I know that's beside the fact, but if you can't find your husband and you guys don't want to be together, then I'm pretty sure that you can go to like the court and say this is what happened, and she's gonna have to take the next steps to divorce that other guy that she hasn't seen in like 10 years, and then get rid of this guy as well. I think that we need to completely take the men out of the situation, because she's picked men that aren't very good for her and don't really support her lifestyle and the changes that she wants to make. So I think the biggest move I would make is finalizing her divorce, getting getting whatever paperwork, lawyer, whatever she has to do to divorce her first husband. And then I think that she needs to get rid of this boyfriend that she's like common law married to, because he's obviously not good for her. And I think that, you know, her worldviews and things like that, they don't match up with this guy. She wants to be married. She wants to be happily married. She wants to have a family. She wants to be baptized. She wants to be in this Christian faith. And obviously this current guy doesn't want to support her enough to even like get married to her, and they've been together for 10 years. So I think that that's the biggest thing. Their morals obviously don't line up. Their worldviews don't really line up, or else, you know, he would be kind of trying to get on board with her, and he's not. So I think the biggest solution that we can do is take them away, and she needs to focus more on herself. And I think once she takes those next steps, because she can always stay in the church. I mean, the church baptizes people all the time. It's not just like a one-time deal and you're out. So she needs to take the next steps, and I think that she needs to let her church know that, hey, this is what's going on. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a line, and I still want to come to this church. I still want to get baptized, but I kind of have to do all this other stuff before I can do that. And I think that that's going to be like the biggest relief and the biggest like load off of her shoulders, because she's going to get rid of these two men that do not support her or her worldviews or her morals or her life really at all. And then she'll be able to take her next steps with God. And I think that that's the most important thing. So the solution for her problem, I think, is to get her ducks in a line, get rid of the bad men that are in her life because they're not supporting her whatsoever. And I think then she'll be able to take the next steps. And if she just kind of trusts in God, I don't think that no woman needs a man and no man needs a woman to take care of them. So she is more than, you know, she'll be able to take care of herself and her kids. A mom's always going to be able to do what they're going to do. So that's kind of what I think that she should do in this case study, and that would be the best thing for her.